I'm Roman Yossi of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Matt Duchesne of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Justus Aros of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Ryan Johansson of the Nashville Predators.
You're listening to the Renegades of Puck
with Crazy Charlie.
Welcome to the bunker. Welcome to the Renegades of Puck podcast. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. And before we get started on the No Half Step in Hockey coverage, let me direct you to our home website, renegadesofpuck.com. Once you go to renegadesofpuck.com, you learn everything you need to know about the show. And once you're getting educated about the show, click on that merchandise tab. It's going to take you straight to our classic logo t-shirt, our Pride logo t-shirt, all of our different special event t-shirts. Don't forget our Last One to Die brand new t-shirt line in the store now available. Now, all the classic gimmicks you've come to know and love and expect from the Renegades of Puck are still available in our online store. Socks, throw pillows, wall arts, bed sets. We've got about 75 gimmicks in our online store now. As a matter of fact, the easiest way to say it is we've sold out so that you can buy in. Social media is of critical importance to this independent hockey operation, so listen up, Renegades. Here's how you can support the cause. We are on TikTok, Twitter. We are also on Facebook and Instagram. Those are social media platforms you can find the Renegades of Puck. We are very active on all of those different platforms, so please give us a like, give us a follow, give us a subscription. Speaking of subscriptions, YouTube, that's where you can find over 200 episodes of Renegades of Puck TV. Our YouTube channel is doing great, but we'd always love to have some more Renegades subscribing and turning on those notifications. So again, on YouTube, just search Renegades of Puck and give us a subscription today. Again, stick taps, love, and respect to everyone watching the video portion of the podcast. Now, speaking of the audio portion of the podcast, thanks to the Full Press Coverage Network, you can find us on more platforms being listened to by more Renegades than ever before. As a matter of fact, we are having one of the best months we've ever had in show history. Again, that is all thanks to the Full Press Coverage Network. We sure do appreciate what each and every one of the team does behind the scenes to help make the show get in so many different places around the entirety of the globe. You can find the podcast on a number of platforms. Search on your preferred platform, Renegades of Puck, or you can try Google, Spotify, Stitcher, or even Amazon, and several others. So again, stick taps, love, and respect to everybody checking out the audio version of the show and the podcast. We sure do appreciate it. It means a lot to us. Venmo, that's how you can help the show out financially. Make a donation just by scanning the QR code that's currently on your screen, or go to Venmo and search Renegades of Puck, and you'll find us right there. Every dollar goes a long way to helping an independent hockey operation like the Renegades of Puck. Just take a look, take a listen. You can see the obvious upgrades that have been made thanks to generous Renegades just like you watching and listening at home right now. Again, stick taps, love, and respect. As we get into the summer cycle, we will be making our ambitious plans for the upcoming season. So please, every dollar goes a long way to helping the Renegades of Puck and our very, very ambitious plans. Now, I know it's time for the No Step in Hockey coverage, so let me deliver the goods. It's time for operation number 767. That is right, time for show number 767. And at this moment in hockey history, the Milwaukee Admirals are back in the series. After winning Game 3 by a score of 3-1, a change of scenery is exactly what the Milwaukee Admirals needed. Now, Game 1, 6-4 in favor of Coachella Valley. Game 2, 5-3 in favor of Coachella Valley. Now Game 3, 3-1 in favor of the Milwaukee Admirals, making the best of 7 Western Conference final series 2-1 now in favor of Coachella Valley, with Game 4 and now Game 5, which is necessary, coming up in Milwaukee. Thursday night will be Game 4, Game 5, and then Game 6 and 7 would be back in Coachella Valley if necessary. Just a very quick update on the Eastern Conference Final, already through 4 games in that series. Take you through the scores real quick. In Game 1, it was Rochester defeating Hershey 5-1 to take a 1-0 lead in the series in Hershey, and then Rochester fell at Hershey 2-0, even the series up 2-2. Hershey won the first game on the road for them 4-2 in Rochester, taking a 2-1 series lead, and earlier this evening took a 3-1 lead in the series by winning Game 4 by a score of 4-2. The winner of each of these best of 7 series, of course, will meet in the Calder Cup final, which is also a best of 7 series coming up here very, very soon. We have so much to talk about when it comes to Milwaukee Admirals and Coachella Valley Firebirds. Let's start to focus in, and we'll put the microscope on Game 2. A full recap coming up here in just a matter of moments. But first, let me update you on the stats for both of these clubs. Luke Evangelista continues to lead the Milwaukee Admirals in scoring 4 goals and 10 assists now for 14 points. It is Gross with 2 goals and 9 assists for 11 points. Del Gaizo's updated statistics, 4 goals and 7 assists for 11 points total. And then Sherwood is at 8. Kemmel, 7 goals, leads the Milwaukee Admirals in the playoffs. Add 1 assist to that for 8 total points. Afanasiev also at 8 points. Askarov still at 6 6-6 with a 903 save percentage, 2.70 goals against average, and that is because Carl Taylor, the head coach of the Milwaukee Admirals, pulled a goaltending change between games 2 and 3, starting Devin Cooley, the veteran netminder and backup for the Milwaukee Admirals. So Devin Cooley has now started and won one game in the playoffs, giving up just one goal against. But Askarov was removed from the starting lineup by head coach Carl Taylor, and that was a bold move coming back from Coachella Valley down 2-0. Askarov had started in every single game in the playoffs up until this point, and I had theorized, and now that theory turns out to be incorrect, that the Milwaukee Admirals will ride or die with Askarov no matter what happened coming back home. But it turns out Carl Taylor took the bold step of replacing his starting netminder with the backup Devin Cooley and was rewarded for that decision, with Devin Cooley securing the victory. But Askarov is 6-6 in the playoffs at this point in time. Devin Cooley now 1-0. On the Coachella Valley Firebirds side of things, since we were just talking goaltenders, let's talk Joey Decord. Now he's 10-6 on the Calder Cup playoffs, 927 save percentage and a 2.31 goals against average. So his goals against average has been going up as this series has moved along. His save percentage stays the same. Lynn still leads the Firebirds in scoring, 7 and 12 for 19. McCormick is 11 goals and 8 assists for 19 points as well. Evans is at 2 goals and 13 assists for 15 points. Hughes is at 0 goals but 15 assists for 15 points. That has him fourth overall in scoring for Coachella Valley. True is at 5 and 8 for 13, and McKenna is at 6 and 6 for 12. Highly impressive statistics for the Coachella Valley Firebirds, but they were shut down in Game 3. We need to get into it. We need to talk about it. Milwaukee Admirals, with their backs already against the wall, down 2-0, not an elimination game, but a must-win game as the series changes back over to Milwaukee for the first of 3 and home ice for the Admirals. How would they respond after 2 lackluster games where they looked like a shell of themselves out on the West Coast? Well, let's get into it. Let's find out. It's the Rebirth Sports Full Game Recap, and it's coming up next.
Hockey players are as unique as the game itself, and your uniform should be tailored to fit you. Rebirth Sports is your sports apparel tailor. From shells, bags, warm-ups, hats, hoodies, branding, and more, let Rebirth Sports be your custom hockey tailor.
And don't forget to tell them they do more than just hockey.
Rebirth Sports on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Rebirth Sport, a match made in hockey.
It's now time for the Rebirth Sports Full Game Recap. We go all the way back to May the 29th of the year 2023 when the Milwaukee Admirals were welcoming in the Coachella Valley Firebirds for Game 3 of their best-of-7 series. A change of scenery. Let's see how it would affect the Milwaukee Admirals. First of all, goaltending change. Devin Cooley in for Yaroslav Askarov to start Game 3. Askarov had started every game for the Milwaukee Admirals up until this point. We are 46 seconds into the first period, and it's Decord coming up with a save on Huntington's first shot on goal of the game, and the Admirals are buzzing off of the opening shift. They continue that at 142 as Decord comes up with a save on Sanford at 155. Decord comes up with a save on Kemmel, and then counter punch by the Firebirds is at 234. Cooley comes up with his save of the game on Lynn. Then at 327, Cooley comes up with another save on Carte at 641. Decord back to work with a save on Gravel, and the game has evened out. A little bit of semi-cautious approach by each team coming through the neutral zone and making sure they have their defensive backsides covered. 742 of the first period. Decord comes up with a save on Gravel at 801 of the first period. It's Cooley coming up with a save on McCormick, sliding across the first non-routine save of the game for either netminder. 1023 of the first period. It's Decord. He kicks out the pad and he puts the last second stop on Sherwood's shot at close range. That was a great scoring opportunity for the Milwaukee Admirals. Decord's toughest save of the period. 11-11 of the first period is Evans going to the box. 2 minutes for slashing. Our first penalty of the game is Decord coming up with a save on Kemmel's one-timer over there from the left circle. Then Decord coming up with another save on Afanasiev. After a failed clearing attempt, Decord tried to leave his own crease and play the puck himself, and he almost puts the puck into his own net by banking it off of Afanasiev. Afanasiev gets a good chance, but it is turned aside by Decord. At 16:40 of the first period, it's Cherinsky with a 2-minute penalty, delay of game, puck over the glass, and that's when Decord is going to come up with a save on Kemmel, and then another save on Sherwood. Evangelista cannot knock the puck in out of midair. Had a great look at it, bunted it just through the crease out the other side. Into the first period, it's Milwaukee out shooting Coachella Valley 14-10 so far through the first 20 minutes. The Admirals looking like a much improved team over the previous 6 periods in this series. 126 into the second period, and it's Cooley coming in with a save on Lynn. The mask was damaged while making this save, and on the next whistle, there would be a lengthy delay as they had to get the backup mask and get Cooley all set up and back to the net. Once they do, and resume play, and at 151, it's DeCord coming in with a save on Ratcliffe at 4:08 of the second period. It is Wright, his second goal of the playoffs, giving the Coachella Valley Firebirds a 1-0 lead over the Milwaukee Admirals. First goal of the game is a rebound put back from the top of the crease. First stick to the loose puck, and he puts it in with ease after Cooley made the first initial very, very strong save. The rebound was in a dangerous area, and Wright puts the puck in the net for the Firebirds. 5:38 of the second period. It's Cooley coming in with a save on true 7:13 of the second period. It's Del Gaizo's fourth goal of the playoffs, tying the game up at 1 apiece and getting Milwaukee on the board. It's a long shot with Tomasino setting the screen. Looked like at first maybe Tomasino had deflected, redirected, but it turns out he was just a distraction on the play. Tomasino does end up getting an assist on Del Gaizo's fourth goal of the playoffs. 1-1 now in the second period. 8:44 of the second period. It's DeCord coming up with a save on Gravel, and the Admirals are swarming after scoring their first goal of the game. The next shift was very impressive in the offensive zone. 9:46 of the second period. DeCord comes with a save on Del Gaizo. 10:07 DeCord save on Sherwood. There was a scrum after the whistle, and it would be Sanford for the Admirals heading off to the box. 2 minutes for slashing. Very difficult penalty for the Admirals to take right here after the whistle in the offensive zone. Cooley would come with a save on Karche, but that would be as the power play expires, so the PK did a very good job in this particular tough circumstance. At 14:16 of the second period, it's DeCord coming with a save on Thompson. 50:07. DeCord, another save, this time on Huntington, and the rebound goes high and out of play. At 16:08, it would be Kemmel's 7th goal of the playoffs for the Admirals, giving the Milwaukee Admirals a 2-1 lead in this game. A long wrist shot comes over the blue line, pulls it in by a stride, changing the angle just enough, and then rips that world-class wrist shot that we have come to know and love from Kemmel. His 7th goal for the Admirals leads the team in scoring in the playoffs. 16:28 of the second period. McKenna off the box, 2 minutes for tripping. DeCord would come with a save on Sherwood, then would also come with a save on Del Gaizo, also off of the mask. The goaltender's mask in this game getting utilized quite a bit. 18:51 of the second period. It's Cooley coming with a save on Tronsky, plus the follow-up. It was the best save of the game, kicking out the leg right there and coming up with the big save. We hit the end of the second period. It's Milwaukee out shooting Coachella Valley 27-23. We go to the clean sheet of the third period for the final 20 minutes of regulation, and at 40 seconds of the third period, it's DeCord coming with a save on Tomasino's backhand off the Rushville. Tomasino again being a very noticeable player in this game. At 2:01 of the third period, it's Karche off the box. 2 minutes for high sticking in the offensive zone. It would be DeCord coming up with a save on Evangelista, and then DeCord coming with a save on Jankowski. But the biggest save of this special teams exchange would be Cooley coming up with a save on McCormick's short-handed breakaway. Impressive stuff by Cooley, staying calm, collected, no big deal for him in the net. Also stopped the follow-up, did not slide fully out of position as the sharp angle rebound put back comes in on net. At 4:27 of the third period, it is DeCord coming with a save on Rushev's backhand off of the rush. At 5:39 of the third period, it's Thompson's first goal of the playoffs, giving Milwaukee a 3-1 lead here in the third period. It was a long shot, but the most impressive thing about this play was the keep-in at the blue line just before ripping the shot, and Thompson gets his first goal of the playoffs. Perfect timing for this insurance goal. 9:22 of the third period, it's DeCord coming with a save on Del Gaizo. At 10:04, it is DeCord coming with a save on Luke Evangelista. At 11:40 of the third period, it is Cooley coming up with a save on Pawlowski through traffic. At 13:31, DeCord comes up with a save on Sherwood from the sharp angle. 15:35, McCormick hits the post. Without a doubt, the Firebirds' best opportunity of the period right there. 17:35, DeCord comes up with a save on Huntington after turnover. Admirals looking to put the dagger in it. The empty net scenario comes at 18:18 of the third. The Admirals would be unable to convert, but at 19:03, Cooley would come up with a save on Karche, and things would remain relatively calm considering the extra attacker on the ice. Admirals doing a good job clogging up lanes. lanes, blocking shots, and frankly, turning pucks over and getting it at least out to the neutral zone, which was good enough. The Milwaukee Admirals closed the game out with a 3-1 victory over the Coachella Valley Firebirds. They outshoot Coachella Valley 37-29. First time they've won a game in this series, now making it 2-1 in favor of Coachella Valley. They held on home ice. It's also the first time they've outshot their opponent 37-29 after being outshot quite considerably in the first two games of the series. So now we've got game 4 coming up. The Admirals can tie it up, and they will have games 4 and 5 on home ice before having to potentially go back to Coachella Valley for games 6 and 7. But game 5 is now necessary as the series is 2-1 in favor of Coachella Valley, and the Milwaukee Admirals looked much more like themselves. Carl Taylor has to be given credit for pulling a huge move there and replacing Yaroslav Askarov and putting Devin Cooley in. Cooley gave you exactly the performance that you needed, kept things calm, kept things quiet, and frankly, when was called upon, came up with the saves that he needed to. But the team in front of him played dramatically better than they did in either of the two games in Coachella Valley. That's going to do it for the Rebirth Sports full game recap. We've got full analysis, stats, box score, Brian Baston, all coming up on the Renegades of Puck podcast, and that's coming up next.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm Tracy, owner-operator of Strong Style Fitness. And that's me and my training assistant, Rizzo. And we are here to bring you fitness that meets you where you are by offering circuit classes, bar-inspired classes, Tabata workouts, boot camps, guided stretching, and more, all taught by a certified personal trainer, me. To learn more, go to our website, strongstylefit.com. Subscribe on YouTube at Strong Style Fitness. Follow on social media at Strong Style Fit. But most importantly, let's get you moving. It doesn't matter if it's your first workout or you've been doing it for years. Strong Style Fitness has the workout that meets you on your journey and helps you along the path to a happier, healthier life. I understand where you've been, what you were going through, and where you were going, and I want to take you there. We'll see you on the mat. Mwah.
Devin Cooley in this game, first start of the Calder Cup playoffs, 28 out of 29, and a good, calm game, and that is exactly what the Milwaukee Admirals needed. Yaroslav Askarov had carried the Milwaukee Admirals to the conference finals, but it was not without incidents and not without a roller coaster ride. Some soft goals coming from long range, the instinct versus time to think conversation that we fleshed out considerably over the last couple of weeks, but also was making some bad decisions there and turning the puck over. Cooley comes in as a veteran, gets an opportunity to calm things down. That's exactly what he did. The only goal against, he made the initial save. The rebound is put in. Not much he can do on that situation. When called upon, came up with a couple of huge saves, kicking out the leg pad. So for Devin Cooley, we know last year in the playoffs, he had a couple of very, very good starts, and now getting the opportunity, and I'm assuming he has earned himself another opportunity in game 4. Again, 28 out of 29 in his first game in well over a month of action. He looked completely dialed in, no problems from him. It also helps that the team in front of him played considerably better than they did in the first two games of this series. So let's talk about those performances as well. But Cooley was absolutely what the Admirals needed, a goaltender that had a nice, quiet, professional game in net tonight. The rookie netminder having a chance to sit on the bench and keep an eye on things and see how Cooley got the job done. Thompson in the gameplay, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points, his by far his best game of the entire playoffs. Also 3 shots on goal, just a huge game. Keaton Thompson was having a very, very good night out there on home ice, and that was just one of the first early indicators of how much different this Admirals team was playing on home ice compared to how they were playing on the road. But Keaton Thompson, 2 points in this game without a doubt. The best offensive performance of the game by any of the Milwaukee Admirals, but also just a very noticeable performance from the blue line. And Keaton Thompson doesn't get a lot of opportunity to get a lot of discussion here, so we wanted to go ahead and make sure he got that time. Del Gaizo picks up a goal. Another big game for Del Gaizo. He's just been absolutely highly impressive out there. Now 4 goals, 7 assists, 11 points in the Calder Cup playoffs, and Del Gaizo just continues to be absolutely consistent out there. Fire that puck from out high, had the screen in Tomasino, and he puts the puck into the net. So again, for Del Gaizo, just another big game. He's been easily one of those consistent performers throughout the entirety of the Calder Cup playoffs for this Milwaukee Admirals team. You want to see a star that is just absolutely on the rise, and that is Kemmel. That goal that he scored is just another example of how good his shot is. It's a top-level shot in the AHL right now. For the limited amount of experience he had in regular season, now approaching as much experience in the postseason as he did in the regular season for the Admirals, the shot that he has is easily up there with any of the best players in the AHL right now. Kemmel's goal in this game is his 7th of the playoffs. That leads Milwaukee Admirals, and he's found different ways to utilize the shot as well. The one-timer is blistering. It's great from over there in Ovechkin's office, Forsberg's office, whoever's office you want to call it. Kemmel's going to make it partly his office in the future in the NHL. But now using a different wrinkle on it, pulling the shot over one stride, and then getting the angle and firing that wrist shot. Obviously heavy and deceptive. Kemmel leads the Admirals in goals in these playoffs. Sherwood deserves some conversation after his 5 shots on goal in this game. He's everywhere out there. He is a puck hunter. He seeks contact. He is certainly not afraid to go to the dirty areas, and he deserves to get the conversation. When he is going out there, he leads by example, and he certainly has the Admirals follow right along. His 5 shots on goal paced the team in this game, and again, he was just involved in a lot of the play out there on the ice. Great to see when he's playing good. The Admirals are typically playing good. And the team defense, after what we saw in the first 2 games, where the Admirals gave up 6 and 5 against, the Admirals absolutely buttoned things up, only giving up 1 against in this game. We went over that goal already. It was a rebound put back after Cooley had made the initial save. The team defense, the Admirals were under control, they were focused, and they were determined. The attention to detail was something that I noticed, and it's very important. It was absolutely lacking in the first 2 games. When you don't have attention to detail on defense and you fail to get clears and you just make the bad plays, the easy mistakes, that's how you lose games, especially to an offensive juggernaut like the Coachella Valley Firebirds. They cleaned up the easy mistakes. They cleaned up the soft goals. They cleaned up the turnovers behind their own net and the misplays, and they were able to put together one hell of a good, solid team defensive game. Coachella Valley has rarely been held to this level of scoring. As a matter of fact, only being shut out twice in the playoffs up to this point, and they had only been held to 1 goal or less those 2 times that they were shut out. So for the Milwaukee Admirals, a highly impressive turnaround. We knew that they could do this. We absolutely knew that they could play like this. This was Admirals hockey. This was the team that we knew for 72 games in the regular season and through the first 2 rounds of the Calder Cup playoffs. Are the Coachella Valley Firebirds a very good hockey club? Yes, they absolutely are. But it was the Admirals who went out to the West Coast and just defeated themselves 2 games in a row. Now back on home ice, seemingly back in their comfort zone, they showed the world what they could do in Game 3, and now right back in this series. Game 4 coming up. Admirals are just 1 game away from tying the series up and making it a best of 3. Highly impressive effort in Game 3. It could have gone a totally different way. If they had not cleaned up that game from what they had played on the West Coast, they certainly would not be back in this series. But I believe they're totally back in this series, and the way they played against Coachella Valley in this game, if they can duplicate that in Game 4, 5, and beyond, then the Milwaukee Admirals are not only back in this series, but they're giving themselves a very good chance to win this series. And that big, bold move, and I'm going to talk about it more before the end of the show, by Carl Taylor to switch netminders after 2 games. It is a huge move, and I'll talk about that more. But first, I want to hear from Brian Baston from ontheforecheck.com. Brian Baston's back in the trenches with the Renegades of Puck, and he's got all things talking and thoughts and numbers and stats and all the things you need for Game 3. He's coming up right now. Brian, it's all yours.
Thanks a lot, Charlie. A great man once said, "Real sick, brawl nights, I perform like Mike. Anyone, Tyson, Jordan, Jackson." For those of you too young or maybe just not fly enough, that's a line from Biggie's verse on Victory, released July 22nd, 1997. But what does that have to do with the Milwaukee Admirals' Game 3 3-1 victory against the Coachella Valley Firebirds? Well, there's one player that we haven't talked about much so far, but I promised you, the other Western Conference teams in the playoffs, well, they probably know him pretty well. As Biggie once said, you've heard of us, the murderous, most shady, been on the low lately. The Firebirds hate me. Well, I might have changed the lyrics on that last part. But nobody has flown quite under the radar while being so dangerous than the Admirals defenseman Mark Del Gaizo. And the notorious MDG is the topic of tonight's One Big Stat. The Admirals faced a 1-0 deficit in the second period tonight with the specter of a 3-0 series deficit looming large, and who else but Mark Del Gaizo tied the game and essentially shifted all the momentum Milwaukee's way. And despite the bigger names like Luke Evangelista, Kiefer Sherwood, and Joachim Kamel, who had a crucial goal tonight, taking a lot of the coverage, Del Gaizo has quietly accumulated an incredible postseason for the Admirals. While this is just Del Gaizo's fourth goal in the 13 games of these playoffs, he's come up in big games when they needed him. 2 of his other goals were in pivotal games against the Texas Stars last series. But of course, goals aren't the only stats. Del Gaizo's 11 points this postseason has him 11th in the league in the playoff points, tied with Jordan Gross and just 3 points behind the Admirals' points leader, Luke Evangelista. And he's shown up big even without getting on the scoreboard, posting an even 0 and plus-minus so far. I know, the second best of all defensemen in the AHL playoffs so far. Mark Del Gaizo is in his second full AHL season after being drafted in the 4th round by Nashville back in 2019. The former UMass Minutemen associate captain has been biding his time in the AHL, and he's come up big when it counts in these AHL playoffs. So while Del Gaizo hasn't gotten a fair share of the coverage and analysis, and I'm just as guilty as anybody else, I think he's making himself pretty well known to the people who matter, and that's his opponents. Because if you as fans haven't been able to watch Del Gaizo just yet, just a single game should convince you that he's not letting this Admirals team fall out of the playoffs without a fight. And of course, as Biggie would say, if you don't know, now you know. And that's tonight's One Big Stat. Charlie?
The digital environment can be quite intimidating, time-consuming, and cumbersome, especially with all those other areas that need attention at your business. And that's why Stripe Digital Solutions is here to help. I know, because that's exactly what Stripe Digital Solutions did for me and the Renegades of Puck. From designing my home website and helping me create my merchandise to special event posters, brand building, and social media management. But it's not just that, it's so much more. Stripe Digital Solutions has helped me every step of the way. From startup to full-time operation, Stripe Digital Solutions has been there to assist and advise every single step of the journey. In today's fast-paced world, the path to success is having a strong digital partner, and nobody is better in the trenches than Brandy and Stripe Digital Solutions. Get the solution before it's even a problem with Stripe Digital Solutions. When it comes to the box scores, Mark Del Gaizo with 1 goal in this game, Keaton Thompson with another goal, and Joachim Kamel also with a goal in this game. When it comes to assists, Luke Evangelista and Jimmy Huntington with assists. Anthony Angelo also picked up an assist. Michael McCarron. Keaton Thompson has an assist, and Mark Jankowski also with an assist. When it comes to the shots on goal, Kiefer Sherwood led the team with 5, Joachim Kamel with 4, and also Mark Del Gaizo with 4 shots on net. When it comes to the net minder, Devin Cooley gets the start in this game with 28 out of 29, only gives up 1 goal against a couple other numbers in the box scored to throw at you. Shots on goal. Now listen, the Milwaukee Admirals had been outshot quite badly throughout the first 2 games of this series. Not to be said in Game 3. 37 for Milwaukee, 29 for Coachella Valley. So 29-22 Coachella in Game 1, 37-27 in Game 2, now 37-29 in Game 3 in favor of Milwaukee. So the Admirals, you can tell, getting their game back. That's more of the numbers that we saw when they were winning games in the previous rounds. That's more how the shots on goal were working out. In the special teams category, the Admirals power play could not get it done. 0 for 4 in this game. It did not hurt them. They could not get it on the power play. The Coachella Valley Firebirds only had 1 power play. They went 0 for 1. That means the penalty kill units were both perfect. Milwaukee was 1 for 1. Coachella was 4 for 4. So the special teams a non-factor in this game. Devin Cooley and Joey Decore definitely came up with plenty of saves, shorthanded, and did their jobs out there. So that's going to do it for the box score, and that's got everything all set up as far as that goes. The only thing left to do is close out this show right here, and we did a Renegades of Puck special commentary a few weeks back called The Case for Carl. If you haven't seen it, I'll link it here at the end of the video for you to click on and you to watch and you to listen to. The case for Carl was simple. It is that Carl Taylor should be the next head coach of the Nashville Predators, the parent team of the Milwaukee Admirals. I made the case that Carl Taylor had unfinished business and that he needed to take care of a nice long run in the Calder Cup playoffs before the Nashville Predators could could make those decisions and those announcements, and now being into the conference final and proving time and time again that he is the right coach to take the next step in his career. Switching netminders is not something that no coach has ever done before, but it is a big time move when you have gone with Yaroslav Askarov all the way from the beginning of the playoffs up until the beginning of Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals. Making the switch, I agree, was absolutely necessary. I do not believe Askarov had played his best hockey, and I don't know that he was going to be able to recover under the pressure and the stress as a rookie netminder and play his best hockey moving forward. This was a big and important coaching decision by a head coach that continues to show game after game, example after example, of why he is one of the best right now in the AHL and is deserving of his first shot at the NHL level. We have seen Carl Taylor call timeouts and the team respond immediately afterwards by changing the game, scoring a goal, or just changing the way that they play completely to change the flow of the game. We have seen after intermissions, the team come out cool and collected after looking not very good. We have seen Carl Taylor pull lineup changes, and we have seen him make adjustments in game that have led to the Milwaukee Admirals being back in this series against the Coachella Valley Firebirds. That's why I made the case for Carl weeks ago to become a head coach for the Nashville Predators. Now, seeing what he is doing and seeing a change like this, going Devin Cooley in Game 3, more than likely in Game 4, and possibly beyond, depending on how Game 4 works out. This is big-time coaching, and that's exactly why we, the Renegades of Puck, have made the case for Carl. Appreciate each and every one of you watching and listening. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your viewership. We certainly do appreciate each and every one of you. I am your host and Captain Crazy Charlie Saunier. Appreciate you guys hanging with me through the extreme dental pains. You see the Calling All Renegades poster. You know that I've been hit with a puck more than once in the face while I'm dealing with a whole mess of issues on this side. I appreciate you dealing with it and appreciate you hanging with me through the episode. And if I made any mistakes, it's because I'm extremely heavily medicated just to make it through the show. So thanks a lot, Renegades. I appreciate each and every one of you. Stick taps, love, and respect. I am your host and Captain Crazy Charlie Saunier.